Alright, we're going to start with the first chapter of Class 12 History, the Indus Valley Civilization. Let us represent Indus Valley Civilization with a map. Let us suppose that this is the India map, and the Indus River flow in Pakistan. This is the Indus River. And the Indus has many tributaries, 5 tributaries. One which is very important for our studies is the Ravi River. This is the Ravi River. Alright, the reason why the Indus Valley Civilization flourished in and around this Indus River is because the vast plain of this Indus River is very fertile. It is very close to water, and it was very suitable for the civilization to start. So that is the reason why the first civilization of India starts in and around the Indus River. So the term Indus Valley Civilization was coined by John Marshall. And this civilization was discovered and preserved under the directions of John Marshall. Now, who is John Marshall, in fact? He is the Director General of Archaeological Survey of India. And one important thing that you need to keep in mind is the first Director of Archaeological Survey of India is Alexander Cunningham. Now, the Indus Valley Civilization is a much more broader, bigger than the Egyptians or the Chinese or the Mesopotamian civilization. Now, let us see into the story of discovery of the Harapan civilization. Story. How is the Harapan culture or the Harapan civilization discovered? Now, in 1856, the British are laying a railway track. They are building a railway track from Lahore to Multan. Now, these workers who are building this railway track from Lahore to Multan in 1856, they are in need of a ballast, a rock. They are in need of rocks. And they found rocks in the form of burn bricks in and around the Indus area. Now, important sites which has been discovered is Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. So the British could collect all the burn bricks. The British could collect the burn bricks to make railways. From there on, John Marshall, he concluded that around 5,000 years ago, there must be a civilization that exists in this particular area. In 1920, a person by the name Adi Benazir, he discovered Harappa. Then Mohenjo-daro, the location of Mohenjo-daro is around here. It's presently in Pakistan. Let us suppose this is Pakistan. So Mohenjo-daro was discovered by Daya Ram Sani. These are some of the important discoveries, and the contributions of Benazir and Daya Ram Sahi is also important. Most importantly, the the work of John Marshall is important because it was John Marshall who declared and who preserved these discovery sites. These are some of the important personalities who discovered, who has contributed to the discovery of the Harapan civilization. Now, the Harapan civilization is much bigger civilization. The Harapan civilization is a big civilization, much more bigger civilization than the Mesopotamian or the Chinese civilizations. There are around 1,400 settlements. The Harapan civilization is a very big civilization. It is much more bigger in extent, in area than the Mesopotamian civilization or the Chinese civilization. And the archaeologists found 1,400 settlements, and it covers an area of 12,25,000. Covers an area of 12,50,000 square kilometers. 12,50,000 square kilometers. Let us move on to the extent of Indus Valley. The extent of Indus Valley civilization. The extent of Indus Valley civilization. The extent of Indus Valley civilization, the extent from east to west, is 1,600 kilometers, and from north to south, 1,400 kilometers. 1,400 kilometers. Now, the northernmost point is Jammu and Kashmir. The southernmost point is Gujarat. The westernmost point is Sukta Gandor in Pakistan. Sukta Gandor. Now in Pakistan, and the easternmost point is in UP. So this is the extent of the Indus Valley civilizations. The total area covered under this civilization is 12,50,000 areas. So the east to west extension is 1,600 kilometers. The easternmost point is the UP. The westernmost point is Sukta Gandor in Pakistan. The northernmost point is Jammu and Kashmir, and the southernmost point is Gujarat. So this is the extension of the Indus Valley civilization. Now, this civilization covers 40%. 40% of this civilization is in the Indus River. 40% of settlement is made in the Indus River, but 80% settlement is made in the Saraswati region, in the Saraswati River. 40% of the settlement is concentrated in and around the Indus River, and around 80% of the settlement, whereas 80% of the settlement is in the Saraswati region. 80%, that is 1,100 settlement. 1,100 settlement, which is 80% of the settlement, is in the Saraswati region. So some of the scholars, they are prompted to call this civilization as Indus Saraswati civilization. So some of the scholars, they claim to call this civilization as Indus Saraswati civilization because 80% settlement is found in and around the Indus region. Now, why it is called the Harapan civilization? So we know that Indus Valley civilization is also known as the Harapan civilization, but why is it called the Harapan civilization? Because Harappa is the first site to be discovered. So it is known as the Harapan civilization. Now, this here is Harappa, Mohenjo-daro. Archaeology play a very important role in the discovery of this Indus Valley civilization or Harapan civilization. Now, the role of archaeology is very important. The artifact which is found in Harappa is similar to the artifact which is found in Mohenjo-daro, and therefore the archaeologists conclude that the civilization, the Harapan culture and the Mohenjo-daro culture must be of the same civilizations. So they concluded that the Harapan culture or Mohenjo-daro culture belongs to the same civilization. Now let us see the role of archaeologists in digging out or finding out the history of this Indus Valley civilization. Role of archaeology. The role of archaeology in reconstructing Harapan life or Harapan civilization. Now, it is through the archaeologies that we come to know about these civilizations. Now, what is the role of archaeology? The first role of archaeology is the archaeologists study the material remains. They study the material remains. It could be stones, ivory, clay, etc. They study the material remains and they found out evidence. Number two, the archaeologists check whether the material remain is a tool or an armament. They check. Whether the material they found they check whether the material is a tool or armament. The third point is they study the artifact by investigating the context or place the archaeologists study the artifacts by investigating the context or place where they are found. By investigating the context. I mean, whether they are found in a drain, whether they are found in a grave, in a kiln, etc. The fourth point, from the indirect evidences. Indirect evidences like the traces of the use of cotton in Harapan sites. Moving on, the Harapan civilization is not a rural civilization, it is an urban civilization. Now, we call this an urban civilization because there are lots of cities, big cities are being existed during these civilizations. So the name of important big cities are Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Dholavira, etc. Now, Côte d'Azur is also an important site of this civilization. Côte d'Azur. Côte d'Azur is also an important site of this civilization. It is a fortified city. It is a fortified cities. Another important is, another aspect of this civilization is we have Lothal. Lothal is a dockyard. It is a dockyard. It is a place where the ships comes and goes. It's a dockyard. Then we can say that this is an urban civilization from the town planning itself. From the town planning itself. Now, the town planning, the Indus town planning is well structured, well laid and well structured. We can also say that this is an urban civilization based on the architectures. The Harapan people are very skilled in architectures, and it takes lots of engineering. So this aspect shows us that this civilization is an urban civilization. Now let us see in details about the town planning, the architectures, and important aspect of this civilization. Let us look into the town planning. The town planning of Harapan culture is one of the most impressive aspects of this civilization. So let us move into the town planning of the Indus Valley civilization or Harapan civilization. The town planning clearly states that it was the handiwork of an architect. So let us see how the Indus people build roads. The road of the Indus people are very wide. It says the road is very wide, and all the roads are aligned from east to west, or east to west, or from north to south, such that the road intersect at right angle. Now, the width of this road is 33 feet, it says. 33 feet wide. Now, example of this roads construction is Mohenjo-daro. And the houses are built in either side of the road, it says. Right. Mohenjo-daro is the oldest planned city. It is situated in the bank of the river Indus. Mohenjo-daro means place of death. And there are many skeletons found in this particular place. So the houses of the Indus civilization. The Harapan people build house with burn bricks. They build their houses with burn bricks. And there are two types of house. They build two types of house. The first one is residential house. A small house. Residential house, small house with 2 rooms. And palatial buildings, big house. Palatial building, big house with a story. So these are the types of house built by the Harapan people. Now moving on to drainage system. The Indus people had a well planned drain system. Every house is connected, every street is connected to drain, and every house is connected to drain. And most of the drains are made up of mortar, lime, and gypsum. So the drain of this Indus civilization, they are made up of mortar, lime, and gypsum. The drains are 2.5 to 5 feet in circumference. They are mostly covered with bricks in such a way that that bricks could be lifted to clean the drain. That is the drain system. The Great Bath, which lay in Mohenjo-daro, is the most imposing construction of the Indus Valley civilization. In short, the Great Bath is a swimming pool which measures 12 meter. The Great Bath is a swimming pool which measures 12 meter length, 8 meters breadth, and 2.4 meters in depth. Now let us look into the architectures of the Harapan civilization, the importance of architectures, as well as some of the architectures of this Indus Valley civilization. The first important architectures of the Harapan civilization is the citadels. The Harapan people, they build small citadel. They build small citadel with a story. The lower part is built with bricks, the upper part is built with wood. Then we have the collegiate building or assembly hall. A collegiate building, it is a big hall of massive 20 pillars. It is known as assembly hall. Great granary. So one of the largest building that was discovered, in Harappa was the Great Granary. It is 169 feet by 130 feet. It is the storehouse. It acts as a storehouse or a government granary where all the rice, yes, it is known as the government storehouse. Then we have the dockyard at Lothal. The dockyard at Lothal is the major trading center of the Indus Valley civilization. It is the major trading center of Indus people. So these are some of the architectures of the Indus Valley civilization. The Indus people are skilled in art and craft. Three important sculptures of the Indus civilization are sculpture in stone, sculpture in metals, sculpture in terracotta. So the Harapan people, they are skilled in sculptures. They are very skilled in sculpture, and one example of this sculpture is a male figure, a torso. It is only the half part of human body, which is sculpted out from red stone. This is an example of sculpture in stone. The sculpture in metal, the bronze figure of a dancing girl, is another sculptured piece which is made from metal. Then another, the sculpture in terracotta, the picture of or the image of a mother goddess. Is an example of sculptured from a terracotta. The image or the picture of a mother goddess is an example of sculpture in terracotta. A terracotta is an earthen ware. An earthenware which is reddish brown in color. It's something made up of earth or soil. So these are some of the sculptures which we find in the Indus civilization. Let us move on to the importance of seals. Importance of seals. Various seals of different size and shapes are being found in the Harapan civilizations. And these seals, it is believed that these seals are being used by traders and merchants as stamping, for stamping purpose. So seals play a very important role in the life of the Harapan people. Now, what are some of the seals that the Harapan people use? The first seal is the seals of Pasupati. This is a very important seal. Pasupati is a male god, is the male god of the Harapan people. A person with one horn, and three faces, sitting in crow's leg, and surrounded by rhino, buffalo, and elephants. That is Pasupati seals. So they use this. The Indus people use Pasupati seals. Yes, Pasupati seals, bull seals, unicorn seals are some of the important seals used by the Indus people. So what is the importance of this seal? Through seals we come to know about the life of the Harapan people, the lifestyles, the agriculture, the belief system, the religion of the Indus people is known through seals. So seals are very important. Seals are very important. There are many seals. There are seals found in Mesopotamia. There are seals found in the Harappa. And these seals, which is found in Mesopotamia and in Harappa, shows that there is a trade relationship between Harappa and Mesopotamian civilization. Or, in short, we can say that the seals which is found in Harappa is similar to the seals which is found in Mesopotamia. That is why researchers, they conclude that there must have a trade relationship between the Mesopotamian civilization and the Indus Valley people. Now let us move on to the script of the Indus people. So we come to know the script of the Indus people through seals. Now it is believed that the Indus people use pictographic scripts. Yet the script of these Indus people is not yet deciphered. But it is believed that they have a language of their own, and they communicate through that particular language. Now we are going to see on the nature of Indus people. What is the nature of Indus people? How did they live? What did they do? So let us see the nature of Indus people. Now, the food of the first point is food. The Indus people, they lead a very simple life. They eat simple food. Wheat and rice are the staple food of the Indus people. Dress. It is known that the Indus people use cotton fabrics. They use cotton fabrics, and as for their dress. And men wear short shawl. And women wear skirts, it says. Ornaments. It is known that the Indus people are very fond of ornaments. They are very fond of ornaments. Both men and women are very fond of ornaments. Fashion. The Indus people are fashionable men, it says. They are very fashionable. Men, they usually make their hair short. And women, they wear headdress, it says. Amusement. So some of the lifestyles and nature of these Indus people, we are into the lifestyle and nature of Indus people, the amusement. The Indus people are very fond of amusement. Some of the larger time that they used to take is they take delight in music and dancing. Music and dancing is one of the most favorable amusement for the Indus people. The second amusement is playing games. Games like dicing, the second amusement is playing games like dicing and chess. The third amusement is hunting. They hunt for sports and games. The hunting is a sport as well as a game for them. Disposal of death. The three ways in which the Harapan people dispose the dead body, one is complete burial. The other one is burning. And the third one, the dead bodies were left out for the beasts, for the animals and beasts to eat, to be eaten. So these are the three ways of disposing the dead during the Indus, disposing the dead by the Indus people. Now, these are some of the nature and style of the Indus people. Please take note of this. Let us move on to the economic life. the economic life of the Indus people. Now, how did they make their livelihood? How did the Indus people make their livelihood? Or what is the important occupations of the Indus people? This we are going to study on the economic life of the Indus people. Now, the first occupations or source of livelihood for the Indus people is agriculture. So, agriculture is the main source of livelihood for the Indus people. Since agriculture is the main source of livelihood for them, they give importance to irrigation. And irrigation is carried out through well irrigation, through wells, with the help of wells. The second source of livelihood for the Indus people is domestication of animals. Now, the Indus people make their second source of livelihood by hunting and fishing. By hunting and fishing, number one, or by rearing sheep, cow, and other animals. The second source of livelihood for the Indus people is domestication of animals. Now, the Indus people rely on hunting and fishing apart from agriculture. If agriculture fails, they rely on hunting and fishing, and they rely on art and industry. By art and industry, we mean practicing of art and craft like pottery, weaving, pottery, weaving, etc. Then we have the third source of livelihood is trade and commerce. The Indus people, they build a trade relationship within India and outside India. Now, they had a relationship with Mesopotamian civilizations. They build trade relationship within India as well as outside India. And there is an evidence that there is a system of weight and measures for any transactions. The weight and measures for any transactions. The measure the measures of cubic feet is also known to the Indus people. It is also noted that the measures of cubic feet, measuring by cubic feet, is also known to the Indus people. So these are some of the economic life of the Indus. Let's move on to the political organizations. What is the political system? The government system that is going on during the Indus Valley civilization. The Indus people, they practice theocracy. They practice theocracy. So theocracy is a government which is run under state-sponsored religion. It is a government run with state-sponsored religion. Or in short, we can say that theocracy is a government run by priests. a government run by priests. So the political organization of the Indus people is theocracy. The head of the religion is the head of the state. Now, example of this is found the picture of a priestly. There is an image of a priestly king which shows that this king is either a king or a priest. We move on to the condition of women. It is believed that the condition of women seems to be pretty good. Women are respected as men. Women play a very important role and they are equally respected like men. Now, the evidence is the worship of a mother goddess. The worship of the mother goddess shows us that women are respected and women are equally treated like men. This is the condition of women. And we move on to the educations. Education. Religion of Indus people. The religion of Indus people. The Indus people worship Mother Goddess. They also worship animals. So nature, the worship of nature is an important aspect of the Indus people. They worship the nature. Now the first religion, the first god for the Indus people is the Mother Goddess. Mother Goddess, it is Shakti. The worship of Shakti. Then second god is Pasupati. It's a male god which is believed to be Shiva. So the practice of Shiva Shakti religion is important. Then we have animal worship. They worship bull, oxen, tiger, etc. There is a worship of tree. They regarded the peepal tree as sacred. Worship of nature. Worship of nature. The Indus people worship nature and they worship the sun, the river, trees, stones, etc. And they also worship the priestly king. It is not very clear whether the priestly king is God or the ruler, but it is believed that this priestly king is also an important personality in the religion of the Indus people. The decay of the Indus Valley civilization, or the disappearance of the Indus Valley civilization. Let us see what are the causes. This civilization existed around 2600 BC and it decayed away, it disappeared away. Why? What is the reason behind the disappearance or the decay of the Indus Valley civilization? The first belief is flood. It is believed that there was a flood, and it is believed that there was a flood, and flood submerged all the lands and buried under the civilization was buried under the mud. So this is the first causes for the decay of the Indus civilization. The second is famines. The decay of the Indus Valley civilization is believed to be of famines. There was no rain, and the whole area of civilization turned into a desert, and people shifted their settlements. And famine is believed to be the second cause for the decay of the Indus Valley civilization. The third is earthquakes. It is believed that earthquakes cause great havoc to the people, and the civilization gets disappeared because of earthquake. The fourth is the Aryans' invasion. Some of the scholars believe that the decay of this Indus Valley civilization is due to the invasions of Aryans. 6. The sixth causes for the decay of this civilization is change in the course or direction of the Indus River. In the course, direction of Indus River. So the change in the course or direction of the Indus River made people to shift their settlement to different places. So these are some of the reasons why the Indus civilization decayed or disappeared. Last, we are going to see the legacy of this Indus Valley civilization. Legacy of Indus Valley the legacy of Indus Valley civilization. What is left behind by the Indus Valley civilization? That is the legacy. Now, the Indus Valley civilization exists for a very long period of time, and it disappeared away without any trace. But something is left behind by the Indus Valley civilization. Number one is, right after the Indus Valley civilization, the Aryans came and settled in India, and the majority of the cultures that we have, the majority of the cultures of the Indian culture that we have, the culture of the Aryan is borrowed from the Indus Valley civilization, from the Indus culture. So, the legacy of Indus Valley civilization, the first point in the legacy of the Indus Valley civilization is the remains of culture. Number two is and religion. Another important aspect of the legacy of the Indus Valley civilization is Hinduism. The religion of the Indus people, which is the worship of nature or the worship of the Shiva Shakti religion, converted into Hinduism, and this is one of the greatest legacy of the Indus Valley civilization. With this, we conclude the chapter 1 of Indian history. Thank you very much.